Hey guys, today we will be discussing about foreign bodies in the esophagus. We will complete this topic under these headings. First, we will know the site of lodgement of the foreign bodies in esophagus and etiology of a lodgement of these foreign bodies and what are the signs and symptoms of foreign bodies in esophagus and investigations to know whether it is a foreign body or not and management, that is treatment and follow up after we know that there is a foreign body in the esophagus and what are the complications if we leave that foreign body in esophagus and what if these bacteria are swallowed and what are the caveats, that is warnings about treatment of foreign bodies in esophagus. So this is the oral cavity, nasal cavity, pharynx and esophagus. This is a line diagram. You can tell that this is a line diagram. So first of all, the sites for the lodgement of the foreign body will be here in the tonsil. In the tonsil there may be lodgement of a fine needle or something sharp objects may be lodged here or here in the vallecula or the base of the tongue. This is epiglottis and this is tongue. So this is the base of the tongue and this is vallecula. This portion is vallecula. Foreign body can stay here or in the tonsil or it can stay in the posterior pharyngeal wall or it can enter the esophagus and get stuck there or it can get stuck in the pyriform fossa. So to know the pyriform fossa, orientation should not be like in sagittal section. In sagittal section we cannot see pyriform fossa neatly. That is this is the larynx, right? We have to lift the larynx and behind the larynx on either side of the larynx you can tell that. For suppose just I am drawing a line diagram. Imagine that this is a larynx and there are laryngeal folds or something and on either side of this larynx, this one and this one, these are pyriform fossa. So this is a pyriform fossa. In this pyriform fossa foreign body can get lodged or in this vallecula foreign body can get lodged or in this tonsil foreign body can get lodged or in the posterior pharyngeal wall or in the esophagus. So these are the sites of lodgement. Other than this is the upper end of esophagus and this is the lower end of esophagus. In the upper end of esophagus there will be cricopharyngeal muscle. So this is called cricopharyngeal sphincter or upper esophageal sphincter. In this cricopharyngeal sphincter there may be lodgement of a foreign body or this esophagus is crossed by the bronchus and at this point there will be constriction in the esophagus like this. So above this also foreign body can get lodged and in the lower end cardiac end, lower end also called cardiac end, foreign body can get lodged. So these are the points. First is cricopharyngeal sphincter and constriction above the place where it is crossed by the bronchus and cardiac end of stomach or cardiac end of esophagus, lower end of esophagus. So these are the sites of lodgement of a foreign body. We have completed one thing in this. And coming to etiology. First of all, it may be due to age, that is children often swallow whatever they see, right? So this may lead to the lodgement of several foreign bodies in their mouth or esophagus. Mostly it is seen in the children below 5 years of age. Uh, Other thing is loss of protective mechanism, which can occur in several conditions. Like when we use upper dentures, there will be loss of tactile sensation. So whenever we swallow any foreign body, that can go undetected, that can be swallowed undetected. So since there will be no sensation, we cannot know that we swallowed something, right? So during the usage of upper dentures, there will be loss of tactile sensation, and at that point there will be swallowing of foreign bodies and they get lodged. And loss of consciousness, there will be no gag reflex or something like that, so no protective mechanism. And during deep sleep or alcohol intoxication, epileptic seizures, in all these conditions there will be no protective mechanisms like gag reflex and cough, etc. So whenever we swallow a foreign body, that gets entered into the esophagus or lodged somewhere in between. Carelessness, no proper cooking, so that there will be large chunks of hard material that gets struck, like meat or bone of a meat or a fish bone, or even a needle or coin or batteries. All these things get struck. Coins and batteries, all these things are due to the age. Small children, they know nothing about that and they will swallow them. That is one etiology. And narrowed esophageal lumen, that is seen in strictures or carcinoma. In those conditions, even a small object, if it is swallowed, that gets struck before the stricture. Stricture is narrowed lumen, that is, this is the normal lumen of esophagus. It gets narrowed like this. This is the point of stricture, and after that there will be normal. Before this, so for suppose we swallowed a foreign body and it ended up to here, there is a stricture, so it cannot pass through this and it gets struck here. This is the foreign body lodgement seen in stricture. In carcinoma also same thing occurs. There will be narrowed lumen due to the carcinoma. This is carcinoma, and when foreign body is engulfed, it cannot pass through this and gets struck here. That is seen in carcinoma. In psychosis or suicidal attempts, several foreign bodies get swallowed. They tend to swallow several foreign bodies and they get struck in the esophagus or somewhere in between. So we have completed etiology. Now coming to symptoms and signs. Imagine that you have swallowed something and you cannot swallow that completely. So what you will do? First thing that will occur, that is gagging or choking. So this is the initial symptom. And then after it enters something, for suppose imagine that it is a fish bone or a needle or something you have swallowed, and you cannot swallow that further down because it has lodged somewhere in your esophagus. What that will cause? That causes discomfort or pain. Due to this lodgement of some foreign body in your esophagus, you cannot swallow any other thing. That is difficulty in swallowing. And what is the term that is used for difficulty in swallowing? It is dysphagia. So you may experience dysphagia, and due to the lodgement, and there will be obstruction, and protective mechanisms gets activated, and to promote the swallowing of that food or some foreign body, there will be reflex increased salivary material. So there will be drooling of saliva. And this foreign body, this is the trachea and this is esophagus, right? When there is a foreign body in here, it definitely causes pressure on trachea, right? And on the posterior wall of trachea there will be no cartilages. Like on the anterior wall there will be cartilages, and on the posterior wall there will be no cartilages, only muscle will be there. When this foreign body causes or implies some pressure onto the trachea, this will be narrowed like this due to the pressure. So there will be narrowed airway and there will be respiratory distress. And another thing, if foreign body does not lodge in the anywhere in esophagus, but it entered the stomach or somewhere in the duodenum or something, it gets stuck there. So there will be pain in epigastrium. Epigastric pain will be there. If it is in the esophagus, there will be thoracic pain or substernal pain. Substernal pain when it is in the esophagus or in the cardiac end or in the stomach, that will cause epigastric pain. And the next thing is signs. Coming to signs, if you palpate the above clavicle, supraclavicular region, this is neck, and if you palpate here supraclavicular region, there will be pain or tenderness due to the foreign body lodged in a esophagus, right? So this will cause pain here. And there will be presence of, if you examine with the endoscope, there will be accumulations of secretions in the pyriform fossa. What is pyriform fossa? That is present at the sides of larynx. At both sides of larynx there will be a fossa or a space, that is called pyriform fossa. When there is accumulations of secretions over there, sometimes these it is very close to the epiglottis, right? So sometimes these secretions can get swallowed or swallowing, or they can get aspirated, leading to pneumonia. Sometimes through the esophageal opening, oral opening of esophagus, there may be foreign body protruding through the esophageal opening, and we can see that. So we have completed this diagram is for signs. That is palpate here, that is supraclavicular region. If you palpate here, there will be pain and tenderness, and there may be protruding foreign body seen through the esophagus. And in the pyriform fossa there will be accumulations of secretions, and they may get aspirated, leading to pneumonia. These are the signs. And symptoms are, first of all, we will get gagging reflex, so gagging or choking, and due to its lodgement, and there will be obstruction, and that causes pain or discomfort. Due to that pain we cannot swallow, so that is dysphagia. And for the protective mechanisms, there will be increased saliva, drooling of saliva, and due to the pressure on trachea there will be respiratory distress. And because of this, in the thoracic part or in the abdominal part, in the cardiac end of stomach, cardiac end of esophagus or stomach or duodenum, that will cause epigastric pain. That's it. So we have completed symptoms and signs. Now coming to the investigations. This is very simple. We have to take X-ray, lateral view or posterior anterior view. We have to take an X-ray, and in the coronal plane we can see foreign bodies like a coin or needle or something that is radio opaque. Only radio opaque foreign bodies can be seen through the X-ray. We have to rule out that. If we cannot confirm the diagnosis that there is no foreign body just because we cannot see through the X-ray, we have to go to endoscopy. because there are some foreign bodies like bone or meat or even some food material that are radio lucent, not radio opaque. Only radio opaque foreign bodies like coin, needle or something that can be visible on X-ray. Only for radio opaque foreign bodies are visible. In investigations we do X-ray, that is coronal plane, surface is posterior anterior surface or lateral surface. It is not the conformational diagnosis. We have to do endoscopy along with X-ray to rule out that there are no foreign bodies. And investigations are over. For the management, there are 3 things you can do. First of all, management. Management is removal of foreign body. We have to do anything to remove the foreign body. First we can do endoscopic removal. We can pass endoscopy into the esophagus and locate the foreign body, and we can easily remove it with the help of forceps. That is endoscopic removal. Or we can do cervical esophagotomy. Otomy means cutting. We will cut the esophagus at the cervical part and remove the foreign body. And there is also thoracic esophagotomy. Same thing. We will cut the esophagus but at the thoracic. This esophagotomy, that is cutting of esophagus, will be dependent on the site or location of the foreign body. If it is in the cervical part of esophagus, we will do cervical esophagotomy. If it is in thoracic part of esophagus, we will do thoracic esophagotomy. In that way we will manage that. Or it is not present in the esophagus, it has passed through the esophagus into the stomach like this. It has entered the stomach and it is reaching the duodenus and further down. So we will leave it like that, and we will normally the foreign body will be passed through this easily. If it is a small foreign body and if it is not a sharp one, it will easily pass through this and pass it through the feces. It will be coming out through the feces. So feces have to be checked for every 3 to 4 days. We will do surgery in 5 conditions. In 5 conditions, when it has surpassed the esophagus, we will do surgery. First condition is when there is any pain or tenderness in the abdomen. Then if it is a sharp object, if the foreign body is a sharp object, there is high chances of perforation. So we have to do surgery. When we do X-ray on following days and there is no movement of foreign body, then we will do surgery. No movement on X-ray. Normally it has to move through the stomach, through the duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecum and colon, sigmoid colon, rectum. So through in that way it has to come out, right? If there is no movement, then we will do surgery. And if the foreign body is longer, more than 5 centimeters longer, like hairpins, it cannot cross the duodenum. The duodenum will be in this shape, right? So it cannot cross. It can get lodged here or somewhere here, and it cannot cross this duodenum. And in those cases, we have to do surgery. And if it is a battery, disc battery of more than 1.5 centimeters in children more than 6 years, we have to do surgery to remove that. And finally, if there is pyloric stenosis. In these 5 conditions, we will do surgery. Otherwise, there will be no need for surgery if the foreign body passes through the esophagus and enters the stomach and intestine. So, we have completed management. What should we do when there is a foreign body? First option is endoscopic removal, then cervical esophagotomy, then thoracic esophagotomy. If it passes through the esophagus, we have to check for every 3 to 4 days for the foreign body to get excreted through the feces. If not, in these 5 conditions, we have to do surgery to remove the foreign body. So, we have completed management. Now coming to complications. What are the complications if we leave the foreign body like that? Coming to the complications, previously we have discussed that if there is a foreign body in the esophagus, this is the esophagus and this is a foreign body, it causes pressure, it compresses the trachea. This is trachea. Trachea will be there in front of the esophagus, right? So, presence of foreign body compresses the trachea. This compression causes obstruction of trachea. This leads to the decreased airflow. Decreased airflow and respiratory distress. Respiratory distress is caused by the presence of foreign body in the esophagus. And next, this is the esophagus and there will be periesophageal abscess or cellulitis. This is the second complication. There will be formation of periesophageal cellulitis or abscess. Periesophageal. And next, presence of foreign body causes periesophageal cellulitis or abscess. And if this foreign body is left in the esophagus without any removal and it is neglected like that, after some time there will be ulceration in the wall of esophagus, and with time this ulceration gets healed and there will be fibrosis leading to the stenosis of esophagus like this. So ulceration leading to stenosis. So ulceration and stenosis seen in long-term presence of a foreign body in the esophagus. And now this presence of foreign body can also lead to perforation. Perforation, when it is a sharp object, when this foreign body is a sharp object, that can cause perforation of the esophagus. And finally and rarely there may be tracheoesophageal fistula. This is a rare condition. So first of all, due to the presence of foreign body in the esophagus, there will be compression of trachea leading to the decreased airflow. Due to the obstruction of obstructed airflow, there will be respiratory distress. And presence of foreign body causes periesophageal cellulitis and abscess. And long-term presence of this foreign body can cause ulceration of a esophageal wall, and that can further lead to stricture, leading to stenosis or stricture. And this presence of foreign body can cause perforation in the esophageal wall, perforation. And finally and rarely there may be tracheoesophageal fistula. So these are the complications. Now we have completed complications. What if children or some people engulf disc batteries? What happens if they engulf disc batteries? In these disc batteries there will be sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide or mercury. These three things are too dangerous for the esophagus. After 1 to 2 hours of ingestion of these disc batteries, that can cause mucosal destruction of esophagus. There will be destruction of mucosa. In 2 to 4 hours, there will be muscular destruction. Muscle layer will get destructed. In 8 to 12 hours, there will be perforation. So, we have to remove these disc batteries as early as possible, or else there will be destruction of mucosa and muscular destruction, and finally leading to perforation. Because of these sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide and mercury, there will be these kinds of adverse effects because of these batteries, and there will be need of surgery when these disc batteries are of more than 1.5 centimeters, and these are seen in children less than 6 years of age. They have to be We have to do surgery in those conditions. Like I have told you earlier, if the disc battery is of more than 1.5 centimeters, if children are less than 6 years of age, in these conditions we have to remove battery immediately through the surgery. So we have studied about disc batteries, and finally caveats, or otherwise called as warnings. What are the things you should not do to remove these foreign bodies from the esophagus? So first, you should not use Foley's catheter or balloon catheter to remove these foreign bodies. It is always better to remove these foreign bodies by looking at them, by looking at their site through the endoscope, with the help of forceps. It is better to remove them. It is not advised to remove them using Foley's catheter or balloon catheter. You should not push. Never push. Should not push the foreign body into the stomach so that it will get spontaneously expelled. We have to try to remove it rather than pushing it down. So third one is, you should not use papain like material. These are muscle tenderizers. Papain like material should not be used because esophagus is also made up of muscle, right? If we use these muscle tenderizers for removal of any meat that gets stuck in the esophagus, it digests the meat. Along with that meat, esophagus will also get digested. So papain should not be used. And also, if there is a meat bone in that meat, that bone will not get digested, and there will be foreign body stuck in there again. So another thing is, we should not use glucagon like materials which causes relaxation of esophagus. To promote the entry of foreign body into stomach, some glucagon like materials should not be used, because if there is if the cause is any stricture or carcinoma, these are not helpful. So always use endoscopy. By seeing the foreign body, we have to remove it with the help of forceps. We have to see them. So do not use Foley's catheter or balloon catheter. Do not push that, so it can get spontaneously expelled. So do not do that. And do not use papain. It will also digest the esophagus. Do not use glucagon since there may be other causes for the foreign body obstruction. These are the caveats. Caveats are warnings for the removal of foreign body in the esophagus. Now we have completed foreign bodies in the esophagus.